touch the light, the heat I see in your eyes. In your eyes. In your eyes. In your eyes.
Look what we got!
Yes, look, it's exciting.
And you can too.
We have products.
That's right, you can too. We're going to launch them today on the website. And we also have Focky mugs.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who've read the book, you know what Focky is.
Mugs, yes. And we don't have the blue shirts handy.
We have pink and blue because those are the colors of the trans swoosh.
There's a nice blue and men's t-shirts. We got men's tanks. We got women's tanks, women's t-shirts. Awesome.
It's awesome.
All kinds of colors.
It's exciting.
And Zuzu Bean.
That's right. You can radiate light, laughter, and love.
With Zuzu Bean. I hate this. There she is.
I don't know why it's so weird. It's not like just looking in a camera.
It's and it's not like looking in a mirror. We want it to be a mirror, but then that would be silly because I'm over here, but I'm over there. So
Right.
Try it sometime. It's not as easy as it looks.
Welcome to this episode of Getting Back to Me, Both Sides of the Story. This is episode 24.
Is that good?
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 24 weeks.
Amazing.
That is amazing.
Amazing.
That's amazing. That's almost half a year.
Well, except we do it weekly.
There's 52 weeks in a year.
That's true. But there's 24 months in
I was
2
told
years.
there would be no math.
Okay, why don't we cut to the chase?
Okay. I think we're kind of dancing around because today's chapter is probably one of the most emotional ones for me in the whole book.
Really? Yeah, emotional in certain wonderful ways. Yes.
I think outside of you and the girls, and maybe to a lesser extent the girls, coming
and
up,
your sisters.
yeah, my sisters.
Or our 2 dogs. I never know what you mean.
That's true. Coming out to Gerhardt was the most
Huge.
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 Yeah. Not so much, and this is kind of the same feeling I've had with everybody, is I didn't feel like I would lose their love, but with Gerhardt there was so much more.
Would you like to tell the friendly people who Gerhardt is?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Gerhardt is my mentor. He's probably the most important man in my life since my father passed. And he raised me as an artist. He taught me gold and silversmithing. He made our wedding rings. He taught me ceramic, sculpture, blowing glass. Not so much painting and drawing, but who cares? He taught me how to be an artist. And all of his lessons I still use every day in television and writing. And but more importantly, he's the most important man in my life, for sure.
Because he's stayed in your life and now our life and
Yeah.
been a big part of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's the force of nature. He was, we both were involved in each other's lives at very vulnerable times for both of us. He never knew how vulnerable I really was.
Right. Although I'm sure he's...
Since then, yes.
Yes.
Well,
Thinks he knows. And
right.
knew.
So in chapter 19, I describe coming out to him. And leading up to this time, Gary had seen me. He'd been to the barbecue where I had purple toenails.
But you weren't...
No.
You just had the hints.
That's
the long
right.
hair and
Although,
toenails.
if you remember what he said was, Mary said, "Are you working out?" And he said, "Of course. We're pumping iron, getting those good packs." I'm like, "No, Gary. It's the girls."
No, he did make another comment, though, too.
He said, "You're looking pretty effeminate with your long hair and earrings there."
Well,
Yeah.
and he was right.
He was right.
Little did he know.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Find a passage.
there's a lot on the line here. And with Gary, I did the 5-minute chat, and I literally timed it to 5 minutes heads up. I called him 5 minutes before I was going to pull in his driveway, and I said, I just need to warn you, I look a lot more feminine than the last time you saw me. And he said, well, what does that mean? You got, are you wearing a bra and high heels? And I said, bra, yes. High heels, they're boots, so not really. They're kind of mid-level. He goes, well, you know I'll love you no matter what you're wearing. Come on over. In that 5-minute time, what I didn't know is that he and Mary's first words out of her mouth was, what about Marcy? In that 5 minutes I had, which is a good way it's only 5 minutes because it cuts it down. Their imaginations had gone all the way to Mars and
Well,
back.
that's why we do it in 5 minutes.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and I also know that he's...
Mary and I are good friends.
Yes,
so
Mary's been a huge
it's nice.
supporter. Gary's wife, she's an amazing woman. And anyway, so I was out in the driveway going, please don't come out, because I knew I looked like shit. My hair was disheveled. I was nervous. I was sweating. I wanted to get myself together because I knew this first
Because I
impression.
care so much about that.
Because this first impression was never going to get it back. But when I walked up to the door, normally that's when Gary would come out. He still didn't come out. And I could see through the glass of the front door, and he and Mary are both standing there. They're waiting for me to come in. And they can see me totally through the glass doors. And time froze. And I opened up the door, and I stepped in, and it felt like it was an hour of silence. And then...
When you listen, you can admire this lovely logo radiate light, laughter, and love.
in this frozen moment, I can squeeze in a word about Gary's wife, Mary. She's a beautiful woman, and like my love is for me, she's more woman than Gary could ever handle. He does his best playing over his head, too. Mary's British, and has been here for over 40 years, raised 2 kids, and coaches figure skating. She's the perfect English lady. So much so that she never goes out in public or lets anyone see her unless she's completely together. Hair, makeup, nails, and attire. She always wears the most appropriate thing for the most appropriate time. Classy and striking, Mary doesn't know it, but for years she has been one of my role models. It's a big club. But I'm suddenly worried that we're not cool. I haven't ever talked to her about trans anything, and she's a bit on the conservative side, so I have no idea if she could ever be not cool about me. Far out. Blessedly, Gary breaks the silence. His words, far out, cradled by his hearty laugh, gives me a smile and that gives me a flash burn, and within seconds he grabs me into his arms like there's no tomorrow. I can still feel his hug to this day. This paves the way for Mary, and she steps in between us and takes me by both hands to the dining room and sits knee to knee with me. She doesn't let go of my hands for the hour it takes for me to pour out my entire story. As soon as I'm done with the final stage, Gary's got it all figured out. Of course. My love calls. I knew she would. Gary confesses to her that no, he didn't see this coming, but that he was always struck by my artistic solutions. The way I solved creative challenges was never the way a normal boy would, he tells her, and though he didn't see it as a gender thing at the time, now it all makes sense. He did know I was struggling internally with something growing up and was always a little concerned with my drinking and drug use. Come on, weed and every once in a blue moon some shrooms? Coke for only a short time. Who had that kind of money? But that's one of the reasons why he loved my love's spirituality, crediting it and her with saving me.
Yeah, I think one of the things that does strike me most is the whole thing about creative solutions. That's how he saw where you were different. And later he said, think of the output now, right? I love that though, because I guess he brought it back to art. Even his reaction to you coming out to him. I think that's it is really interesting. I mean, we joke a lot about that TED speaker who has the two heads on the stage with him and talks about the different way men and women think and how men think in boxes and women are all over the place and relate everything. That's obviously a huge generalization, but I think there's some truth to that. So, for him to watch you as an artist and how you went about things and see that you did do things differently.
I never really thought about it, but it's like there's a lot of validation in that. This is, I think a lot of times people think that trans people are cut and dried in their own minds. And as you get older, what's a boy thought and what's a girl thought was really clear in my mind for a really long time, and then it started to blur, and I wasn't sure which was which. And that also makes you question whether this is real. A little bit. And then you realize that no matter what your questioning doesn't make it make it go away, and then you go, it is real. It's realer than anything else. So to have someone who knew me so intimately, a true art master apprentice relationship is, first of all, it's something I don't think a lot of people really know exists anymore in today's world. I'm so grateful for Gary for that, because he truly has seen and guided my art to blossom. So for him to see that through that I was thinking girl thoughts, even back then, so that he didn't. I mean, there is no dude more manly than Gerhard. I mean, he makes other men cry because he's so together, and he has no problem shedding a tear. He's taught other men what manhood is, because he doesn't abide by any of the rules, but he is so masculine it's not even funny.
Well, there's so many people who have said to you, including other trans people, that they're surprised at how you navigated your youth, your life up until now. Because we hear so many stories about trans people who are suicidal, if not actually commit suicide, who also have another co-issue going on, like drinking or drugs, who are separated from their families, separated from their mates, and ask you why. How did you do that? And I think actually Gary gets a lot of the credit, because for you to be able to be immersed in art, and it's almost too easy to call it an escape, but it was an outlet for you, an outlet for your expression.
It was refuge, for sure. Total refuge.
So it's really lucky.
Yeah, especially because it was high school, so it's like your hormones are
Ridiculous.
already, your brain is in a blender.
I'm sure that's why I got sent to boarding school. It's like hormones, boarding school.
Yeah, and Gary knew how to ride that pony till she dropped. He really did. He
focused on you. He also knew of the other kids he had in his classes that you also had great potential. So it's lucky that he also gave you that much attention, and sometimes brutally, but that's okay.
I mean, I can feel every place his boot hit my ass. It felt like it lived permanently there. But yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for it because he knew how to turn my tumblers and unlock my heart. You
Yeah.
know, for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he figured me out way early. And that's why it was so, to get his love is amazing and has been amazing forever. For it to so instantly, all of my fear of coming out to him, my biggest fear was that losing my place under his wing,
Mm-hmm.
and him just not being able to relate to me as a woman anymore. But he so embraced me, and so we didn't miss a beat.
I think one of my favorite days was when we did go up together then after that. And you'd finished the book and you read him the chapter about him. And watching him, you said he's not afraid to shed a tear, but I don't think he openly sheds tears very easily. And he definitely, I was watching him and he was really, really moved by the things that you said about him. And I loved watching that. I loved watching his face. I loved watching him be speechless. In a good way. I mean, it was very touching and very real and very deep. And, you know, the years of, I mean, for him to get to hear without being able to interrupt all the things he meant to you, I think was great for him and his heart, too, to see what a difference he made in somebody's life.
Yeah, I mean, normally he would have been downplaying everything.
Sure.
Yeah, it would have been turned. I really took that opportunity to write him a love letter.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that was really great.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gary didn't know. He got me through dysphoria twice. The first time going through it without knowing it, and the second time knowing full well. So I'm doubly grateful to him.
You know, there's also going to be so many people out there, young trans people, who may not have the benefit of having a mentor like that. And I think that's one of the reasons that we're driven to want to speak out, be there for people, give talks, go to schools, and make ourselves available, because you are also a safe place where you have the experience, but you can also be a mentor. So it's really rewarding to be able to give back.
It is nice right now, especially when people have called us and said, hey, my friend's son was their daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you help?
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah, it's really rewarding being able to do that. But,
Yeah.
But I think what I want, it's kind of like you. The lesson I want everybody to learn from Gerhardt's experience is, it's love and it's only love. And you just keep loving. Everybody has a hard time.
Yeah, walls don't work, whether it's between countries or between people. Walls just are a silly, artificial way of trying to separate oneself or separate other people. And I don't think that's what we're here for. Why do we reinforce or enforce that kind of mentality even?
Mm-hmm.
If everything and everyone were more loving.
Well, the biggest wall is the wall that you put up between you and yourself.
Wow, that's heavy.
Well, that's what, that's why I put that. Part of me is a daredevil and knew that I had to run through the wall to get to Gerhardt. The other part of me was, well, as you know, I put off the 5-minute call.
I know, I kept checking with you on the way up the mountain. Have you called him yet?
Yeah.
No, I'm 5 minutes out. You probably.
Well, because he's
should call.
psychic. He knew, he would know. And
Of
he
course.
did. He did in the first call. So,
Of course he did.
yeah, I didn't want to upstage my entrance.
So, yeah, I think people can find the ways to be there for each other, whether it's a mentor or a parent or a sibling or a friend,
We're here.
teacher. Yeah, and
We're
we're
here.
here. Yeah. Anything we can do to help is what we'd love to be able to offer.
Absolutely.
All right, is
Yeah.
that it for this week?
I think so.
So just ask them to visit the website.
Go to the website, there's a
ZooZaBean.com
store.
often, and there's a store button, and you'll
Yep.
start finding some of these goodies we would love
Yep.
you to have for your own.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you. Light, laughter, and love.
Light, laughter, love. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye. Did it stop?
Nope, it didn't.
Why?
Did it again.
Is it
Are you
recording?
starting it again?
The feeling